Dr. Dre and Suge Knight were recording when I was here, and I don't know. I was like, I don't know what the hell's going on here. Is all I gotta say. So there's a studio that they were dealing with actually at the time in June 92. It's here, and that's what I'm saying. And fit right in the timeline, honey. Okay, so they were at a place called Bernie Grundman Mastering, which is on Gower. Now, actually, at a later time, well, beyond working at like the Gower Studios over there, in television, there's another music guy that I was working with, actually right over there later, but not at this place. He's another guy that's in the industry. But I didn't know about this studio at the time, but apparently the Michael Jackson Thriller thing was there too, and that's the drug ring that was over here. So I was like, I don't even know what to think of this because the creepy crawlers over here, two of the people fit the description that were working on the album that was with Dr. Dre. And so when I was joking around about, oh, Suge Knight thing, that thing, well, strangely enough, he was over here, and then he fought some two gangsters and went, got busted. So anyway, there's some bullshit with that. I don't know if he's the guy that was out here on the corner. That would be really weird, but that's this stuff. Okay, so at the time, it makes sense, kind of in a way, because I was kind of like, why is there these two freak shows? These two you guys. I want to cry. Like the thing about it is so horrible. These two freak shows come up to me, and they were very descriptive. Like I could describe like the looks of them, but they had a little kid with them that was half naked in the middle of the day, right? And I was trying to figure out like why this other dude, when he talked to him, that they took off. Like they were trying to get me, but then they had this girl with them, this little white girl, half naked, in the middle of the day, down on the street. And I'm like, why are these people here to begin with? Like I was trying to figure this thing out because if you guys were in the area at the time and you're watching all the activity going on out here, you got your general creepy crawlers out there trying to like, rip people off and, do all this garbage. But these two are just strolling down the street like they think they're like rock stars, that type of thing, right? And it didn't even occur to me at the time or when I was even reporting, we're trying to figure out the girl portion of this, that, oh, it could be these two rappers because I didn't think of any of that. Um, it just didn't, I mean, I don't know, because I wouldn't know, I guess, because you would have to ask, and it's like, you guys do that shit. But these two guys that fit the description of these two rappers that were working with them, um, yeah, it very well could be. So we solidify that they were in the area because um, it says the month, and then it says where they recorded. And I was like, oh, well, if they recorded on it and you're saying they recorded only at these two places at their studios, I guess it's on Wilshire or something, and then over here, then that means that yes, they were indeed here. And then what happened was, what I found out first though was that months later they were in a video with them. So I was like, oh well, then they were out here there, but we need to figure out if they were here at this time, right? Well, I found it, and they were. Now the issue is, was it them? Because now I can really keep them in, right? Because the major problem it was, okay, so we found out Suge Knight was in the area in the summer portion, so he fit in the timeline of the May, June, July, right? Because that's summer in the June, July portion, and this actually happened in the June, July portion. And then we just solidified that they were recording here in June, right then, right? So there you go. So now we solidified that yes, they were all here at that time and on the same street. Now I don't know if those other two, um we're down at this studio here because I don't know why they would be at the mastering thing, but who knows? They, and where they, why they were doing this to begin with. So they need to help out here. So the thing is with this case is that that guy is no longer alive. Okay, so he's no longer alive. So if that was him, he's no longer alive. So we can't, like, dude, can you give us some more information? What the hell was going on right here? Then also it could turn out that they're two different people and they just so happen to look alike. That's a hard one, but they know who I'm talking about. That's why I was like, yeah, I mean, do you guys know two others that look identical to these two fools? Because that's very hard to come by. And so we're talking about a time period. So they were human trafficking a little kid that was half naked, and they were trying to come at me. And authorities don't want to take any of that seriously because the story sounds like the description of the people didn't sound real. I don't know. Like, I can't say what they thought because the objective was trying to figure out where the kid in this story. But also there's another portion of the story where we're like, who is this other man? Not the two that had the kid. Who is this other guy? Because the guy is important in the ring that has nothing to do with this bullshit over here, right? I don't think they're related, but they could be related just because, look, you have this Michael Jackson bullshit over here, right? You have this Dr. Dre bullshit over here. I'm in the music industry myself dealing with these other pedo assholes over here. And the strange thing about this is the people that were around all this was celebrities and people related to and people that worked with them. And, but my brain isn't thinking, oh, these random two are also in the industry. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just what are the chances of all this, right? But it happened again when we ran into the GNR people, those people, right? Because I was like, that guy looks like that other dude, but he's saying he's a roadie of theirs and not Izzy, right? So I was like, well, I don't, what am I supposed to say there? Like, I'm a kid. I don't really know. I don't listen to their bullshit. So, who knows? So then, yeah, so they're going on like that. And then they take us over to somebody who I did know, and I was like, oh, yeah, this dude, I see him all the time on MTV. Like, that dude, whatever. And he happens to be the one that didn't do shit in the story. You know what I mean? The whole thing. And so I'm just like, and he would be of no help, really. Unless like, he could be of help in the sense of going, oh, yeah, no, that was totally Izzy. Like, he used to always come over and the roadie, what are you talking, you know what I mean? Like, if something like that. Because I feel like there was some bullshit in some of this, but, yeah. And so here, this happened, and those two Dre's people, if it was them, listened to this guy to leave me alone and to not F with me, and no one did again, right? So I'm just like, narc dude, the dude, because I'm like, I can't imagine this dude hanging out with these guys. Like, I mean, he could, because it could be another Suge Knight thing, right? So I'm trying to figure this out. So I was like, I don't know if that would be Suge Knight, because the guy, Suge looked different in 92, you guys. So when I'm thinking of him, I'm like, this, you guys, if you look at Suge, he looks like he's on a holiday, right? He always wears his little fucking shirt, and then he looks like, kind of, like he could be like a normal, like if he's not trying to be like Mr. Scary Monster thing, like he just looks like a typical guy. Like, he's not running around with, like, typically, like in the photos that they showed of him, like, I don't know, the ones I ever seen. He just looks like this normal dude that's just like really large and then just whatever. I don't know. That's just how he kind of come across to me. But this dude was kind of like that, right? Like, he's a big guy. I don't know how big. I don't know if I'd say giant. He was just a bigger guy. And everyone's bigger than me anyway. He was a bigger guy. Looked normal, kind of like that. But he didn't have a square haircut yet. But Suge had a square like thing going on in like 295, but he didn't have that going on. But it was just like normal type of cut like thing. And then really friendly though, but pretty vicious when it came to like talking about the other people. And then, but I never saw him talking to these people again. That's the other thing about it. So, talking for a couple weeks. So for a couple weeks, this person would walk out of nowhere from the, like their studio is like way down on, I guess on Wilshire, somewhere over there. So it's kind of like 20 minutes away. And this guy was actually pointing down that way. He's like, I'm from over there, but something with my house. Some bullshit with this house. And came walking up from that side off of that La Brea, because La Brea goes down and you go straight down there and go off of Wilshire. And he's like, yeah. And then he comes walking up and then he just perches there in the corner. I'm like, well, why the hell would Suge do that though? Like, I'm just saying, if I was trying to like rule this out, because I was like, he just kind of reminds me of him. I was like, yeah, why would he even do that? Because it's like, don't you have a label here to run? Like, why are you hanging out on the street, dude? But he could just be hanging out on the street doing like criminal activity. But I was just like, I don't know. But this guy right here is the one that talked to those two that may be Dre's dudes over there, and they just walk off. And I'm just like, dude, this is fucking whack. I don't even know what the hell this is about. And so this dude right here, like, seeing child human trafficking, didn't do anything. And I'm thinking, narc. Like, I'm thinking he's like some narc guy. Like, he may have like came up in here and he's just like, I don't know, you guys. The whole thing is not right. And so then yeah, and he knew everything about the ring. And he's like, oh yeah, dude, right there, that son of a bitch right there when did all this, and yeah, he's all that, and yeah, don't go down there because that son of a bitch is down there. And oh, by the way, beware, there's a serial killer out here. Like, who the hell goes on like that? Yeah, cops. Um, yeah, and just walk up to those two, and they're just like, yeah, it's all good, you know. Ugh. I was like, the whole thing was just nasty ass. And kind of scary though, because I could have been nabbed right then, and then the dude's getting Grammys. Yeah, I don't know. That's who it looked like, and that they fit that description. It's very similar to the GNR thing, where I was like, if you had to pull them out, like the dude looked like those two right there. And I gave, guess what? I gave him that description in 2010 or 11. So I didn't even know who these people were at all. I was like, what the hell? Um, no, I gave him the description of the two, and then they obviously didn't do a damn thing. And then I kept giving him information, not on those people, on the other stuff out here and some other stuff. And but they were interested. The thing that pissed me off about it is that like it was almost like they wanted me to go out like a whole bunch of gang members, and it's like I don't even know. Like, first of all, I don't even know like what the gangs were, right? So that was the thing about it. And then two, they were like a smidget of the story of this entire picture, right? Like they weren't really involved. It just happened to be that this weird thing is going on right here with this strange individual, and then these two come into play, and then they make an attempt, right, to do something, but then they have a kid. So I'm like, my reason for reporting is the kid. Like, where's the kid? Did the kid die? Did the kid get taken home? What happened here? This is what we want to know in that portion right there. Okay. So the second portion of it is who's the other guy? The one that's not with those two. The one that pops in, right? Because there's narcs up in here, I believe, and they're dangerous. And the guy, like I said, it's so weird because I was like, the guy was like so nice to me, um and that's probably the whole thing about it. It's just like trying to manipulate the situation a bit. It's not a thing where like it wasn't hitting on me. Like, that's the thing, they were not hitting on me. They didn't do anything. Like, there was nothing that I could particularly pull out to say, like, oh, they were totally selling drugs here because I never saw that. And then two, they're part of some gang activity, which I never saw that. The only thing I did see is them talking to gang members, and those gang members walked away and respected him. And I'm like, that's weird. But besides that, I didn't see him. I didn't see him with any weapons. It doesn't mean he didn't have any. And he didn't come off any other way, except for the fact that he was watching The Ring. And I'm just like, this is odd. Like, this is very odd here. And the excuse for going there was weird. It was just something like, my house, something, 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 and yeah, just kicking back, here. He's not even panhandling. He's not doing these things. This is what I'm saying ago. It's actually a really bizarre thing, because a lot of those people, like mostly the like runaways or any of the homeless people or anything, like, okay, unless they're like vets, because there were some vets out there, they got like checks and they would like keep all their money. He's not out there like trying to panhandle. He's not stealing from anybody. He's not hanging out with he's not doing any of that. I didn't see him hang out with the Ola Ring. He was watching them from across the street. And he was by the bank, which has typically security cams. So I'm like, why would you know what I mean? Like, why are they running a drug ring in front of the damn bank anyway? And some other things in this. So LAPD knew about the ring long before the sheriffs did, because of my stuff, right? I mean, telling them, and they kept coming by there. So they saw all the activity outside, right? Because this is where they were running the ring, right there. Right there. Not even just at Ola's apartment, which was right a couple blocks down. It was just like right past the hotel, and you go down the street. They were coming down, and they were running that thing right there. And then they were dragging people down up from Sunset and dragging them up into her apartment. And so then they were running this whole street, and the cops knew the whole time because I told them about that guy. And then, but this is going on. And then the other narc situation that was later, where it's like I'm telling them I'm trying to escape, and then the next morning, then there's the cops trying to keep me here, right? Against my will. Like, basically kidnap me. Like, what the hell? Like, so there's this thing going on, and then extorted us, right, for cash. And so this comes into play with the other stories that come out later with their Biggie shooting and Tupac stuff. And I actually did a whole long paragraph, like this whole thing on the news thing under it. And I know people do disregard this stuff, but you need to pay attention. Because mostly in the Michael Jackson story, because there's a police officer, there's an ex-narcotics police officer that was involved in that one, and I pointed out what he said, and I go, that guy right there, that guy is shady as hell, and that's the crap I'm talking about. So the guy is aware that there's drug activity going on, and he's pretending. He's like, I was watching my watch for like 4 minutes. Like, somehow he's thrown out odd numbers, and that's shady as hell. And that he didn't report any of that. Nothing. They didn't do a sting on that other guy. Nothing. That's what I'm talking about. They're ignoring all this. And I'm like, dude, these cops were absolutely corrupt. They're helping out a drug ring. And the guy is pretending that he's outraged that Michael was blitzed out of his mind, but yet did nothing, right? Like, he's like, I was in the narcotics unit for a long time, and I never seen anything like that. Yo, good. So you just saw something really creepy. So, your anger. So what would you do? Yeah, you would report that, right? Yeah, you would. Mostly you, right? Yes. I would think that the family would be interested in this portion, because this is like, what in the is going on here? Because they were covering up this ring, and they lured me and the other kids, using Michael's name for, this bullshit. But the thing is that the cops in it, there's a thing in here that's not good at all. It's like, you knew this thing was going on. Why did you protect this? That's the number one thing that you want to find out in this. And then why did you cover up me getting harmed in it? That's a major thing. Like, children are involved. And this was a big thing that happened the year prior before any allegations on Michael himself. You know, it's not even, there was no thing going on. Anyone to be going, oh, he's a pedo. Like, nothing like that was going on yet. So, but these people were pedos, like, oh, big time. They're probably rappers. Those two, big time pedophiles. These other ones, they're child human traffickers, but the term was not used then. So when I'm talking to, you know, anybody about the story, it's like we're not using these terms as a kid. You know, this is just not going on. But the thing is going on, and they don't know how to deal with this story because what they want these gangbangers. I'm like, that's not the thing here. Because the only people I ever even saw do that was that one time was those two. Like, in these gang members, those were the only two that I ever seen do that. And I think it's really odd, even at the time with the racist stuff going on, right? They had a white little girl. That thing right there is so out of whack. That shouldn't be going on anywhere. But there was no, I didn't see any other ones doing that. This group of people were doing that. And the person in this group of people that was doing that was a white guy, right? So he's on YouTube. He has a channel. He's not even busted. So he's doing that. And then the cops were helping him out. But I don't understand this. It's almost like this semi bullshit thing going on. Because they arrested him for having drugs. So they totally knew about his bullshit. And then let him go a couple days later, right? So, like, they didn't do anything. So if they were going to have any narcs at any time, wouldn't it be, like, right about there? Yeah, they didn't do anything. But they also knew that guy was abusing me. So then I went in there and asked for the report, right? I'm like, you give me the report on him. And they gave me the report on him. So I knew he got arrested for that specific, that thing right there. And so then the next day, I don't know how long it was, but that's when they kept me here against my will. And then extorted me. But later, the Rampart stuff, I don't want to get into this whole other thing again because I'm tired of talking, but it goes into the Rampart area and then my job over there and then them targeting me continuously throughout this thing. And it's butting heads with all these other cases that have to deal with these gang members. And the odd thing about it is the gang members don't have a problem with me because that was the thing about it. So I'm like, well, I mean, it could be that there's, because we already know that there's gang members inside the LAPD and all that, and inside the sheriffs. They're tackling the sheriff one, but they didn't really get into the LAPD stuff here, which is actually the worst ones here. That there may be a inner gang thingy going on amongst them, all of them, right? So let's just say this. I'm going to do a hypothetical, and it's probably, I don't even know if it would be, I don't know. Let's just say that the people I was hanging out with were a bunch of bloods, right? Let's just say that. And I'm dumb and I don't know because I wouldn't know. But anyway, let's just say that. And the people that are gang members inside LAPD are either on the side of the Crips or some other bullshit, right? And they're targeting me because they think that I'm part of that and like some bullshit, right? That could be going on. We're trying to seek the actual the stem up here. We already know like it has to be doing something with them covering up a drug ring and my stuff and extorting money. But it went on for a long period of time, like a long period of time. They keep targeting, and then they try to get more money later in the Rampart time period. And it's a continuation even till now, because now they're trying to ward me off from even having them investigated. So like we did that whole thing there, and then they targeted me and then threw me in that thing. So that's gang activity within the departments. But I don't know what the street thing is with, like, I didn't think any of them got along, but there's obviously some inner criminal stuff going on. But them having narcs from on the street telling the criminals in the departments is like, what the hell? It's different than having a narc go and tell them to bust people, right? These are narcs that are actually telling the criminal cops that girl's trying to run away. Go get her. Like, that's what happened there. Totally. Because I was like, there's no way in hell that that magically just happened on the morning I just told some guy the night before. And how did that guy, like, who knew this? And then so I wake up and they hold me hostage here so I can't leave and then demand money, right? There you go. So there was a person in here that shouldn't have got a kid to begin with. If you run into a kid, you need to report it. So I don't know what the hell bullshit is going on with these son of a bitches, but LAPD had 3 points of contact with me in order to rescue me from the situation. They did not do that. What they did was they extorted money out of me. They allowed me to get kidnapped. They allowed these situations to happen and then watched it. You know what I mean? Like, there's a whole series of things which have really nothing. The only thing it would have to do with gangs is if the inner corrupt bullshit in there and they're warring with these, like, say the Bloods, right? Let's say that's it right there. They're just targeting me just for just being there, I guess. It could be partly that, which is ridiculous because I didn't even know what either of that was then. I knew gangs, but I didn't know the street thing about it. I can't tell you which gang members they were. And I'm not saying that because I'm scared or something like that. It's like, I, honest to God, couldn't tell you what the two were when they came by, nor if that other guy was. That's what I'm trying to find out. If he's part of, if he's part of that, their clown, their clown caravan over there, then there's nothing I could do about it other than the guy has a lot of information about the ring and the human trafficking portion, and then he's not really committed like, he doesn't have to go report it. Like, it's a thing like that where it's like, it's just like a random citizen, regardless if he was a gang member or not. Like, he doesn't have to abandon, he doesn't have to stop it, he doesn't have to do any of those things. But it's different if it's a narc and it's a part of law enforcement where they're watching children being human trafficked out and watching a drug ring and doing nothing and then hanging out with and talking. Like, I find it very odd that he's able to talk with gang members, Crips, Bloods, whoever they were, right? And them just going, okay, dude, that's so cool, you know, man. It's like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? That thing right there, that ain't right. I can't imagine any regular gang member just hanging out there on the corner and just being like, I'm gonna watch these guys. And I'm just gonna sit here all day, right in front of an ATM by there, and I'm just gonna watch them all day. And I'm gonna take a nap in your car, girl. Yeah, like that thing, because he did one time. And then sit there and be like, I'm gonna trash those guys. Yeah, that guy's a piece of shit. Yeah, that guy right there. By the way, there's a serial killer out here. You gotta beware. Yeah, like, what the hell's that? And that's all he did. Didn't beg for money, nothing. That's all he did. There was nothing else they did. How's he living? Maybe he gets a disability check. I don't know. Maybe he steals money. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he's getting paid from the cops to be a narc and he's sitting there in front of that ATM place because it has security cams. That's what I'm thinking, because I was like, dude, it's like watching the damn fucking ring. Like, what? Who does that? Like, it was a weird thing. I was like, how do you know all that information, though? I mean, a lot of people, if they want to pay attention to that information, it's because they're doing something else too, right? And then they want to be like, know what's going on around. But he wasn't doing anything other than talking to me and then watching over there and then being all like, let me tell you, those guys are going down there, so you don't go down there and this and that, because the fools are down there, like going on like that. Trustworthy wasn't, dude didn't steal a damn thing from me, didn't ask for a dime, didn't do nothing. Yeah, so it's in question. I'm like, that one's weird, because the other two, if those are the Dre ones, those two were nasty. Those two were just gutter. Like, they would have stole everything off you. Like, Just because, like, they could sit there and have a tank of money. They just would. They were shady as hell. But they talked to this guy and they're like, ah, it's all cool, dude. You know me. I was like, what is that? Guys with these little child, half naked child? What is that? What the hell crap? I never heard any story of these other guys doing that, but again, I don't listen to all that stuff, and I would hope that they wouldn't, but you know what I mean? They do sing about rape and stuff, so I mean, rap around, you know, that crap and everything. But children, yeah, what the hell? And it's funny because they keep going, oh, when they go into prison, they get killed. I was like, these dudes wouldn't last then because they're sitting there hitting on kids and running around with half naked kid over here who looked about 10 years old. She was, they claim, 13. So I don't know. Those dudes would know. Because even, listen, even if I'm saying the wrong people, they literally know who I'm talking about. Or at least have an idea. Because the, the dude, the dudes have a certain look. So yeah, they were in a video, they did an album, they did a lot of things there. So they have a certain look. So they're like, nah, yeah, wrong homie over there. There's this other cheese, you know, blah, 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 you know, that crap. Yeah, they literally know. They know. I'm a kid, like I'm not involved in their bullshit over there, so I don't have anything with those guys. So, yeah. And the lawsuit, I guess it's still ongoing with their team there, which is good. I hope they finally get somewhere with that because that whole thing, they didn't look at any of the drug portions in the beginning part. They don't even care. They're just like, oh, just drop off kids with a total drug addict. Yeah, they didn't pay attention to any of that stuff. None of it. They've been too busy cuddling it, and we're gonna ignore like all the information I've been giving out about that information there. No, it's real. It's scary. Mostly when you're talking about inner cop with drug things. Yeah, that's not. Mm-mm. That was before the damn kid stuff, you guys. It was before it. This is when Dr. Dre be taping and what was that the chronic that other thing doing that. That's when this was going on. There was no allegations on him yet. It said that he bailed her out. I'm like, why is Michael bailing out a drug dealer? It's my friend from, you know, the Thriller video, 19 man. So maybe that's why that these people were attracted to each other or know each other. That's what I'm thinking. There's just me thinking out loud, but I was like, I don't know what Ola's bullshit is or what the hell she got involved in, but maybe it's because these music people, like they know, I don't know if they know Dr. Dre or what the thing is, like these music people, all they, that whole little circle right there, that they all fucking know each other right there. And so they just feel comfortable coming over there and being all, you know, like that and shit, you know, like I don't know. That crap right there, that's what was going on, you guys, at the time. Like now my car went over to Bel Air and that's where there's a house over there, you know, but so they were hiding that, and that's what I keep stressing. I go, these son of a bitch celebrities, my car was in really rich areas. Why did LAPD cover that up? They made it seem like it was just me driving all over to these rich areas doing what? Like, I would like to know, and then give me tickets all over the place in those areas. And I'm like, yeah, but that would be, don't you think that looks odd anyway? And he said it did. He's like, you know, I could really tell it was somebody stole your car. Yeah, he did say that. It wasn't even just that, because there were times before I even like knew that they were stealing my car. They were telling me, oh, can you go drive over here? Like there were some other places, but I was in my car. Like nobody came by and put a ticket on it. But they were like, go drive over here and then I'll be back. Like some bullshit. And I was like, well, I don't know what they're doing. Like they were doing stuff like that. Even included in beyond the theft. There's an early portion to the this is way out of control, and now it's just to grand theft and auto theft and, you know, child human trafficking and rape and them trying to recruit drug dealers. And yeah, in just a matter of like 6 weeks, it went psh, 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 psh. Yeah, and the cops are watching it. Like they were watching it the whole time. I was like, I can't believe the bullshit that the cops like try to say in this case. I was like, no, you guys knew about this long ago because I told you. I mean, I'm just sitting there going, I literally sat there and said, yeah, this dude, and that's why I got the printout, right? Why am I getting a printout on this son of a bitch? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, why am I getting a printout? Like, you're giving a kid a printout on a dealer. Like, like, it's just that thing. And then the setups are happening afterwards, right? The setup isn't, oh, we need to rescue this kid. The setup is, oh, we know no adults around, so we're gonna like try to get some money out of her, and then we're gonna keep her here so we can get her more abused. Yeah, yeah. There's nothing else to say about it. There's no defense for it. None. There's zero defense for it. None. None. Even if I was emancipated, there's no defense for it. That's the thing about it. That's what I was saying. I go, that crap right there is the most insane, outrageous conduct ever. And it didn't stop. So because it's a continuation, this doesn't go away. It's not a thing where, oh, this one time these cops did this one corrupt thing. It's like, no, they were doing this the whole time. The whole damn time. They have been coming up to me, pretending to be friends, doing this thing. Come move with us. Oh, we're gonna go do this horrible thing to you now. Once you got into our home, you should have known better. Yeah, I should have, huh? It wasn't a thing where it's like you really understand that, oh, it's all of them. Or there's a huge group of them. And it was every call that I ever made when I called, who showed up at the scene. So there's none of this, oh, we're all good guys and there's just a few bad apples. Nuh-uh. Then how come it's every call? And how come you guys claim that none of this, some certain things didn't happen when I literally had to go fight you and then I win? It's like, what are you saying? That never happened? You're saying there's something legit here. No, there was nothing legit in any portion of this. There were setups. There were setups to have situations occur, for sure. Off. So LAPD, the Internal Affairs, did not want to actually investigate this right here, so we're bringing it up here. And sorry if like one of these homies is actually part of that bullshit, but they had a kid. They're damn pedophiles. Whoever these two were, right? They're human trafficking a child that's half naked. Like, what the hell? So who is it? What happened? That's what we want to know there. And then beyond that, then that story goes away. I mean, it's not like who's gonna get arrested. What, his other friend? I don't know if his other friend's even alive. Like he could. It would just be a matter of people asking some questions. But I don't know. I don't know. It's not like those people are like cooperative ever. But beyond that, the other guy, they could try to answer who the other guy is. I mean, they're not going to be snitching out their friends, but if they're like, what they would do, maybe, if that's a guy that they actually didn't, like, they didn't have any thing with, they would, might admit, like, I don't even know who that guy is. He was just saying, like, blah, blah, blah. Now, how are you going to know they're going to really be telling the truth on that? You know what I mean? But, no, but they might actually know some other information on that guy. The one that we're trying to figure out here. The other one. Because we don't know if that guy did some damage to them, right? Who knows? That's the thing. That's why I said, I don't know. We need to figure this out. And somebody would have to know, because it's not a thing where it was just like some guy like went and used a payphone one time and then he was no longer there. This is a thing where somebody was coming every day or almost every day and was sitting in this area for an extended period of time and was talking to people and was totally talking to people. So it wasn't like, oh, this one time. No, they were there for quite a while, and maybe even long after I was there. And I don't know if that was I don't know if they just started coming there one day because I was there. I think what happened was, like, I came up and maybe I sat in that little corner space there and I was trying to figure out what to do. It could be like that. I just remember seeing this guy starting to walk over from across the street, and maybe he did that every day, and I just happened to be there on this day, and then he just started talking, and then we just became friendly, talking just normally, and then he was kind of cool, and then and then that's it. That's all they did. That's literally all they did. That's why I was like, I couldn't tell you like what that is about. Narc. all I could think of, I'm like thinking, narc, that's a narcotic, that's a narc guy. Because they may have been like trying to figure out like what I was doing. Like they could have been doing that and then realized that I wasn't doing anything wrong. And then so they were, starting to do that. But then the way that they were interacting with those gang members was like, well, a narc would do that, or they could do that, like could just from being known on the street. You know what I mean? Like they're like, oh, I know who that dude is. Like, so like being like that. So that's why I was thinking like that right there with that dude, because I was like, I can't. There's nothing that makes sense with that one. Because I always something kind of weird about it. Anyways, so I wanted to put that out there, and you guys can make some comments on it if you want. But yeah, that stuff is crazy, and they're pretending like they cared about that Tupac thing. That Tupac thing was really weird because I was like, yeah, they're still coinciding with when LAPD started, yeah, it was LAPD and some Orange County thing where they started targeting me all of a sudden. Like all of a sudden, it was like there was these like little events here and there, and then all of a sudden this thing started happening, and then that lady was telling me her bullshit, and then it confused the story. Right? We found out like totally rolled out. And I was like, I don't even know what the hell's going on here. And then my dad set me up to get, this other thing happening. And then they take my car to a tow yard. I'm like, someone just stole my car, dude. And I'm like, nobody cares, right? Like, just take all my stuff, like, out of my private space. And like, they knew where it was at. So I was like, well, who made the call? That's the question, because that's the thief. They went and did that while I was out of town. And then the additional thing and the Nevada thing. So it coincides with those crimes right there. And I'm like, that's weird. And I had a friend, a coworker, claim that they were supposed to be there on the night that Biggie got shot from my work. And I'm like, well, I don't know why this would be going on, because I don't think it wouldn't be related to my friend next to me or I don't believe so. Nothing like that. I think that I don't know how much of that story is like, I can't answer that stuff. But some of those people were coming in because we had the other record label people come in. So I was like, well, I don't know if some of those people were coming in, because she's claiming other things, and that actually could show some other bullshit. There's a lot of stuff in this, you guys, and please don't make up stories like people had themselves shot so they could seem innocent. I was like, okay, I don't even know, like I was like the original thing. I'm not claiming to know anything about that Tupac thing, like nothing, because I wasn't even. What I'm looking at on it is the tie here and the corrupt cops in it and the inner narc thing in it, and there's some weird thing going on. And so another thing that they were interested was wanting this information on these gang members, and I was like, I don't have any information on the gang members. I wasn't dealing with gang members. We're dealing with a drug ring that was ran by a Russian with a fake passport, right? And then isn't that who he is? So that's a Russian mafia. That's a fucking different thing. Um, but I can't say what the other people involved in that thing, what they were involved in. I'm telling you, there was white people, there was black people, there was the Russian guy. The guy's not legal or something here, or wasn't, I think. And that they're running a ring. It's not like, oh, we're running a game like this thing. So I don't know, but they could be tied with that stuff. Like, I don't know. They didn't answer any of that, but they harmed me. So I was like, and it wasn't either those gangs. It wasn't neither one of them. So when the cops don't help and when the hotlines don't help, mostly for the human trafficking portion, then I have to go to the public. So when I go to the public, I have gotten good responses actually because I got some on that the Playboy thing, which was good. So yeah, it does help sometimes. So I put out information if anybody had a video on the other incidents, like the gig, the other thing. I haven't got any response from that. I don't understand the Gary Glitter thing. That's bullshit. But here, but if anybody has any information or could lead me, what they could do, I don't know. Because you know the whole no snitching shit. I was like, I'm not part of that because I'm not in any of their bullshit. But the they could lead me with some information in any which way. Not they don't need to out people. It's just the information that I need is about where the girl is, what happened, does somebody know about this girl thing, and also the information on that guy. Like if he's just one of yours, then just let it be. That's just the thing about it. But if he had any additional information on those people or can verify, because he talked to me. Now, it would be helpful because it's not a thing where he's going to get buzzed. It would be helpful because he can verify that, yes, I did speak to her. That's it. Things like that. They could be helpful like that. Yeah. I'm not trying to, like, that's the thing. The only way I would want to bust them, like, in that situation is if that's a cop. If that's a fucking narc right there, that guy needs to go to jail. I'm not expecting any damn other regular citizen for that thing. That thing right there, I think this is my thinking is that that's what that is right there. I could be wrong. But if somebody can kind of lead a little to that thing, but don't throw, I'm not going to be thrown off. I was like, I'm not going to be thrown off by that bullshit. Because I know some of the things that we did and said and some other things. So like if somebody cannot like talk about those things, then yeah. That person actually may not be alive now because the guy was I was trying to gauge his age here. He may have already been 30 at that time, and it would make him well, I mean, it would make him in his what would it be, like 60? Oh, yeah. I don't know, close to 70 maybe though, or something like that. And living like that, a lot of them are not alive that long, but I don't know, it could be alive. I'm surprised that the other fool's alive. Just because of the headhunt, because the gang members did not like that guy. That was one thing. The gang members didn't like that guy. In the ring. One of the guys in the ring. They tried to kill that dude. That's why I'm saying it doesn't make sense that I don't know. I don't know, you guys. That one I don't think it's involved. I think he was um I don't know what he did there. I don't even know why they would maybe because maybe he was trampling all over their territory. Maybe he stole from that guy. But I don't know why those two would be hanging out anyway at any other time. And I never seen to my knowledge, and he was racist. That guy was racist as oh my god. One of the things that was freaking me out about it is like when I was around them, that guy started yelling and saying the N word in this weird rhyme. And I know what it is, but I would never repeat it. But he kept saying this thing and trying to act like he's this like total hard street person and like he could say it and doing this and that and this and that. And I was like, oh my God, what? Like, yeah, he was doing that. And so I'm surprised that they just didn't do that. But the guy, whatever, I guess he just decided it wasn't worth it. I don't know. It was really weird actually watching that because he pulled a gun at him. He got him to run, and then he didn't do anything. He was like really scaring him out, and then they didn't bother me not at all. And then yeah, that thing was crazy. So I don't know what he did. So for me, he was stealing all my stuff and doing all those things, right? So I was like, he's such a terrible person that he was screwing around so bad that he pissed all them off. And but it could also be because the territory stuff. It could be I don't know. I don't know nothing about that stuff other than later learning about people's stories about that stuff, and I was like, wow, okay, yeah, I remember seeing like this one thing and that thing, and they did this, and then they tried to do this, and then they just lied throughout the whole thing. And then I was like, I didn't even know the guy that we're dealing with was the main guy. That was the other thing about it. I was like, that dude was stupid as hell. That dude was just standing out there on the corner. Like I'm saying, he stood on the corner in the same outfit like all the time. And I'm just thinking, this guy's like some like poor loser dude. Like what? And then so he's like the main guy. He was arrested in the same outfit that I seen him in months prior. And I was like, did he ever have any clothes or what was the thing? He always wore that black suit thing. And I seen him and he'd constantly be out there, and then I had to walk up to him with that other guy, and so they're talking and they're like keeping me off to the side so I don't really see or hear what the hell they're doing type of bullshit, right? So I'm just all, I'm not in on any of this. I was like, I don't really know what they're doing, but I can kind of, you're getting the gist of this like at some point. But yeah, no, he was looking at me like mean, like I ain't talking to her. Like, who's this? I don't trust this. Like, you know what I mean? Because he's paranoid that he's gonna get busted. And I don't even know what I could have done there, even because the cops are watching this stuff. So I mean, what more can I do about it? If you're so paranoid about getting busted, why are you doing it right in the middle of a corner? You know what I mean? Because they had they have a hotel room, they have her house, they have all these other things that it's like you're just standing out in the middle of the corner, like a big corner by a bank that probably has a security cam. Like, how dumb can you get? But this is what they were doing. This is what they were doing. That's what I'm saying. I go, it's outrageous that anybody's questioning that the cops were not watching this. I'm like, are you kidding? I mean, you couldn't not watch it. We just hung out there. I'm just sitting there watching this go on, and they're just walking up there doing that, and then I'm trying to get away from them at some point, and then anywhere I went, it's like all of a sudden out of nowhere, I go, someone's telling this son of a bitch where I am, dude. These inner narcs. I don't know who they are. Like for this thing, I go, I think these two, but I don't think that guy. I don't think the second guy was trying to send him on me, because I think no, I don't think that guy was. I think he was helping out I don't know what he was doing. I can't even answer that one, but the second one totally went to the cops and then got them to go target me and to keep me here to abuse me. Like that thing's a whole different thing. So I was like, I don't know what these two individuals right there are just like, what the hell? But then there's obviously something else going on, because how is it that these fools are finding me? Like I could be like, I don't know, somewhere like down the street, like miles down the street, and all of a sudden this pole, whatever the case may be, something was going on. Something really bad was going on right there. And I was like, there's a little bit more to the story than the bullshit that they pulled up here. And then they hid all my stuff in it. But then they hid the Michael Jackson thing in it, like the drug portions. I'm like, you guys are just like literally letting narcotics guys sit there and play this game like I didn't report nothing. Like, get out of here. Like, is TMZ that stupid? Like, they didn't even care. They were, what they were focused on was the mom, like sitting there saying, yeah, I actually enabled this bullshit. And I'm like, yeah, okay, she's terrible, but here's what's more terrible: having a narcotics unit guy sitting there going, I clocked it, and then I hate this, but I didn't do a damn thing. It's like, no, 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 wait a minute. That's a different story. That's not, like the mom thing. This is you being shady as hell, and you're lying about something. And no, that one, I think that's a big deal. I was like, whoa, that's a, like, if I was like the Fed, like a whole thing right there, and I heard that shit, that's it. I am right now because of my story. I'm like, it's going along with the narc dudes. I go, that right there. That. So why is he bailing her out? What's going on here, dude? This is before anybody, they didn't even care that he was like doing drugs. I'm like, dude, the dude, The dude was doing stuff right here, and they're, and then the kid thing kind of like pushes away from the drug portion of this thing. And I go, yeah, but listen, the portion, what's crazy about it, I guess, because the pathological liar one over there was saying this other stuff, and I was like, yeah, but I know this is a fact. So here's this story right here. And I know that I seen some people that are being brought up right here going, and I'm like, that person's familiar and this person's familiar, and I'm trying to obtain more information on it. And, obviously no one's cooperating, but it's not like they're going to sit there and go out and go arrest them right now either. But to solidify that, okay, over here was this and over here was that. And these were the people that were indeed at least around when it was going on. And they're not going to divulge further information and they don't have to, you know what I mean? Kind of that thing. And so, but I can because I'm not the one that was doing that stuff. But I'm just saying that there was additional stuff here that was really bizarre that when they were going down into Bel Air, and I was like, that could be for a number of reasons, but those were the friends and family of these people, and then they were obtaining some type of prescription meds too, but to my knowledge, I don't recall anything other than them doing the one drug. But the other thing, it was possible because I do remember some other stories of them being like, and then I swallowed all this crap. Like they started talking about like that stuff like that. This is towards the end of this thing. I was like, I'm trying to get the hell out of here. This thing is like, what in the hell? But yeah, they started saying some things like that, and then but you just think like, oh, it's just this dude. This dude got a major problem. Then beyond the stealing, beyond that, then they started trying to human traffic out. Then they started trying to deny that. They were trying to deny the theft. They were trying to deny there was a lot of stuff. They kept taking off to people's places and um all over the place. But it was mainly like, from my point of view, it was mainly like that guy being a runner, like that main guy. And so I'm like, who are all these people that are claiming that they turned into narcs? And then they don't name this guy. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Like, if you're a narc, then you would know this person here, and you would have said, oh, he had these like kids, the kid thing, and he was stealing this, and all this and that. And don't tell me they made an agreement with him to turn him into a narc. That's ridiculous. That guy is the biggest the main one that actually should have gone down worse than any person in this. I don't know if he killed somebody. I don't know anything. That guy was that much of a socio that he would. This is his mentality. Okay, today I want to get, $5. Like he wouldn't even care. And then he's like, maybe if I strangle them to death and I can just like, leave and take everything in the house and I'm gonna take off. Yeah, that's him. Yeah, totally. That's why I was like, I don't know what the hell. Like, I was like this thought of like, I'm gonna wake up or I'm not gonna wake up at all. Like just the the level of ASPD this dude has is quite out of control. Like it was like, I'm gonna steal from my dead. Like if you just died on him, he would just steal off you and then take off. That's the level. Like he would sit there and do any of that. He almost makes some of the rappers look totally weak. Like in my opinion, like the way that his brain operates, it's uh like you should be like totally loyal and buddy with your friend. No, he would totally like wait till you pass down to steal everything off you and then, come back and say, you're just gaslight you. That's the type of buddy, that's the loyalty that he had. Like that's a good that thing right there. Like to explain this character, that it's really bad. It wasn't from being an addict. That was definitely not that did not cause that. That did not cause that at all. Because everybody I'm around right there has that problem. Were they doing that? No, they were not. They were not. There was a lot of people that were cool to me during that period, and I'm lucky that that happened because some really bad things can happen in that situation. I know. And so, like, I'm not really, like, there is a problem with some homie sitting there with some child, okay? That is a major problem. Outside that, anybody trying to, like, make sure I'm not getting harmed by those people is not a problem to me. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, why am I going to sit there and be trying to, like, take them down? It's like, that's not the thing there. But I felt that these two are a piece of shit. That they are, these particular two. That was not a consent. That was beyond. No, that was like even beyond. That's beyond them. Wanting to run a drug operation. That was not. That was not. That went beyond any level. That's like But outside that, no, there was nothing that I could pull, you guys. And I can't tell you which groups of people they were from. But I could tell you the activity. That was the activity right there. But outside that, there wasn't a tank of gang members like that. Because that area wasn't really. That's not their area. Like they had other areas that were more towards the south side. So I was thinking when that happened was like maybe they were coming in. This was my thought at the time. I was like maybe they were coming in to try to like jack up the tourists because the tourists come in that area, and then they try to get some try to rob them and stuff because like they're there, right? But that's not what those guys did. They were looking for trouble there for for some kids. And I'm just, or maybe just girl, maybe in his mind girls because he's into kids, but that was the thing about it. And then, and yeah, and then maybe those two rapper guys, and that's why I was like, yeah, maybe they're just coming out and doing their recording, and this is them being their little rock star self, like we're looking for some kids, like I'm just like, yeah, dude, and it wouldn't have been any much different than the rock stars doing that crap. So it was like the same thing actually when you actually look back at the picture of Iggy Pop with that little girl. Oh, but it was even worse than what she was wearing there with these two. And so it's in that same realm of things right there. So yeah, it's upsetting. It was really upsetting. It was nightmarish, that thing right there. And I hope they didn't kill her. Like that's kind of the thing, because I mean, they're being not right there. And maybe their homies don't even know about that portion thing. Like it's one of those things. It was just those two, and they were just. I that one. Man, I can't say. I can't say. I can't say. I can't give any answer to that because there was no other ones that I recall in that area after that or anything. I don't know if they were. I completely just disregarded them, which is kind of funny, but that could have been. I was like, I don't care about you guys. Could have been like that. But I don't recall any of them coming back over that area. And my other friend was a person of color too that was down the street. Again, like I just wouldn't be their typical like I don't think that nobody had a thing for me. Like it wasn't anything like that. I never had any problems like that, like with the gang. That's why I was saying I go the gang member stuff. I used to think it was like I don't know, I didn't take it quite seriously. Like I think when they were telling me all this stuff, like I thought it was another thing when they were talking about satanic panic. And they'd be like, don't go down into like Inglewood. And I was like, well, I'm going to go into Inglewood. And in fact, I'm going to go hire some musician guy out in Inglewood. And I did. And I would go out to these areas where they were like, don't go. And I was like, oh, you guys are full of shit. So I would like go out there and nobody ever bothered me. Knock on wood, thank you. But no, there was nobody had any issue with me anywhere. Like I was thinking like this is all bullshit. Like they're making it all like more scary than it is. And then like yeah, it's scary like if you're involved inside that world and you're doing that crap um amongst each other, right, on the rivals and stuff. But and sometimes they go and start robbing people and killing people just for targets. But But generally, like back then, no, I went up in there and I was hiring them for one of my earlier things, and then I went into, yeah, Inglewood and somewhere else. Maybe even Compton too. They're like, don't go to these areas. I'm like, I'm going down to Crenshaw. And so like I would just go down to these areas and I wanted to see all the stores out there and just see what people were talking about because like I knew nothing about it and I was curious. I told you I'm a really curious cat. And yeah, for a couple years I did that. And then yeah, I never had I didn't have any, I didn't run into anything that was really bad at all. And then one place they were like, don't drive down there because then they just shut up these people just for finding the wrong street. And I was like, well, I'm sure that does happen, but I was like, and then at nighttime, I was like, at nighttime I have to drive through these areas. And again, like nothing. I mean, I think the worst was some creepy crawlers coming out, like searching for drugs or something. Like down in downtown LA, like something like that. But again, nobody bothered us. They were just kind of wandering around, and I was like, all right. But I had to work there, so I had to be out there at like 4 in the morning sometimes, and that's when they all came out.